But he now serves a different master. He serves the administration, and if they say this is what you're going to do, he goes along with it. So it's just total inconsistency. That's why we need people in government that are willing to stand up for their beliefs and explain what they believe in, and they shouldn't be allowed to stay there, you know, if they flip-flop and just do whatever they feel like doing.
George W. smirks, Dick Cheney sneers, Rumsfeld jokes, Powell blusters, Rice lies. Enron and WorldCom steal, DynCorp vaccinates, Halliburton feeds and feeds and feeds and feeds. Americans hurt, and in Iraq, Americans die. Our national leaders insult our allies, create more foes, reward their friends, increase our insecurity through their own policies, and plunge the American people into the deepest economic abyss of a generation. Stealing an election in Florida on the uncounted Chads, representing the legitimate hopes and aspirations of blacks and Latino Floridians, even the Democrats failed to pursue a remedy that would permanently secure the voting rights of people of color in Florida and around our country.
Congresswoman Cynthia McKinney, who was targeted by her own party as well as the Republicans, was routed out of her popular congressional seat covering Atlanta, Georgia. And when she found out about the United Nations and DynCorp kidnapping hundreds of thousands of women and children and being found guilty in court of doing it, she went public. When she found out about the Bushes and the Bin Ladens and prior knowledge of 9/11, she went public and said we should have an investigation. When Cynthia McKinney found out about election fraud nationwide being run by elements of the U.S. government, she went public. And she's a real congresswoman. She's the type of person we need.
I tried to warn the American people of the dangers that I saw emanating from this administration. For that, a known black female Republican was advised to run against me in the Democratic primary. Republicans fed her campaign coffers, and then 48,000 of them crossed over and voted for her. Just think about it. Katherine Harris, who participated in the illegal disfranchisement of innocent black and Latino voters, was rewarded with a congressional seat, and I was taken out of one.
So if you're a real Republican who has populist constitutional views, you're targeted. If you're a real Democrat who has real constitutional values and cares about the people, like Cynthia McKinney, you're targeted, you're attacked for getting out of the controlled paradigm. And I'm telling you, the controlled paradigm is the insane worldview.
We see ludicrous leaders like Tom DeLay, Trent Lott, Ward Connolly, and now Arnold Schwarzenegger parade across the stage adorned with the ornaments of power, while thoughtful leaders are shunned or targeted or cruelly maligned. But there was a time when that truly wasn't so. When our leaders challenged the best in us and encouraged us to shun war and invest in justice and peace.
And Cynthia McKinney has been an ardent supporter of the Bill of Rights and has really spoken out against these modern tyrannies. So we have to commend her.
This is absolute gold right here.
Excuse me, y'all gonna
the incredible height.
Off of property, this is private property.
Okay, where's your property?
15 feet from the foundation.
So you guys done blowing the economy out? Now you're just guarding a little money laundering scam? That's Enron, CIA money laundering. And they don't even want you to videotape their little Enron logo. Can you believe it? The exercise of power. And once our constitutional rights are gone, they'll have these guys dressed up in black uniforms busting through your door, telling you you're wrong after they're done destroying the entire stock market. That's how the scam's going to work here in the new third world country that is America. See, The media, CNN, all of them told you, invest in Enron, it's the biggest thing, it's the best thing, when really it was a Ponzi scheme. They were consolidating. They were taking all of the assets of the population, the pension funds, putting them in the company, then using those assets to buy other real assets and transferring it into other companies. Then when they're done, they burn the house down and cover up their evidence. And then they have a whitewash in Congress where they talk about issues of little or no significance and distract you off the real facts. Where are the assets? And why aren't people talking about how 2 years ago they started transferring them into real companies? This is what we're dealing with here, ladies and gentlemen. This is the scam. Here, let's interview this gentleman. He'll probably know more about Enron than the average corporate executive. And I'm serious when I say that. What exactly do you think's really going on with Enron? You can tell me.
I really couldn't tell you what's going on with Enron. The only thing I can tell you about Enron is that certain people have certain assets in certain places, and they're really not disclosing where their assets at to protect their assets.
Now that's incredible. No one in the media is really talking about where were the assets transferred years before they decided to blow this thing out. It's like, oh, they're all gone, run on the bank. Here it is, again, out of the mouths of babes. He knows exactly what he's talking about. You're on target. I knew we'd get the exact key focused answer we could never get from anybody else.
You got to find the actual employees that was really working here to find out where the target is.
The population thinks that Enron is about a company that went belly up. It was a run on the bank. Couldn't be further from the truth. The reality is it's a giant CIA globalist money laundering operation that I and others were talking about years ago. It's a Ponzi scheme. They take your pension funds, your investment, they buy up power companies, pipelines, you name it, consolidate it, transfer it to other real companies that their interests control. Then they blow out the entire company, have some stage-managed theatrical event whitewashes in Congress, and you buy it. Don't buy it for a single solitary second, because more economic crises are coming. This is how the scam is pulled. Just like 1929 America, I assure you, the stock market is not safe.
I mean, you can buy anything with assets. You can buy anything in each time.
Exactly, real tangible stuff. They've been transferring, and then they blew the dummy scheme out after the last old lady invested money in it. Their stockbroker said it's the best. CNN says it, and you can trust them. They care when you're.
You can't trust CNN.
I mean, really, it's wrong to even speak out against this CIA money laundering operation.
The neighborhood I grew up in, Boyle Heights in East LA and Los Angeles, police weren't necessarily our friends. I think with the experiences we had growing up, that they weren't always there to necessarily help you first. You know, there were situations you'd find yourself in that just seemed unfair. I think that, you know, it has a lot to do with money and the perception that gives people. As people with money are less likely to be aggressive physically than poor people, and I think that stereotype is kind of carried out in a lot of the way.
Well, I would add to that, though, because I've interviewed a lot of police. The establishment also has said that people that fit the stereotype of being poor or disadvantaged are easier to abuse, and then there aren't lawsuits and they don't get in trouble.
Sure, I mean, the legal system, it costs a lot of money to represent yourself. Money does make a difference.
And yes, my friends, there really is an Illuminati. There really are 13 families. They own the big banks that print the money, and they have stated publicly that they plan to get all of us, that's 95 to 80% of us, out of the way to engineer a servant class and to totally take control of the evolutionary development of the human species.
Well, I'm not sure I believe in what you're saying there, Alex. It seems a little far-fetched to me.
All one has to do is investigate FEMA, read the founding documents. It's been around since 1933, though they gave it the name in 1979. And I've got Senate hearings on tape where they talk about the concentration camps that FEMA is involved in constructing and maintaining. In fact, the agencies that were merged to create FEMA were the agencies that actually kept the Japanese Americans during World War II in internment camps. And FEMA's already activated. 4 days after September 11th, President Bush activated 500 dormant clauses, activating all of the FEMA powers. FEMA can take over every radio, television station, every transmission, satellite
uplink since '96.
I don't think that FEMA would ever have the power to impose any kind of martial law.